The most powerful person in government right now is Senator Mitch McConnell. That's because he controls the Senate, and without the Senate, nothing gets passed. And without anything getting passed, you're not going to see any more stimulus checks or extensions of unemployment benefits. So, whatever Mitch McConnell says, that is more important than just about what anyone else has to say about stimulus news. And so, when Mitch McConnell said there's going to be one final stimulus bill, you know that he means it. Here's what he had to say. We're taking a careful look at a fourth and final bill. You can anticipate the decision being made on whether to go forward in about a month, and it'll be narrowly crafted, designed to help us where we are a month from now, not where we were 3 months ago. On top of all this, there's even evidence that Senate Democrats are actually not fully in favor of giving direct stimulus checks, not anywhere close to as much as the House of Representatives was. So let's break that down just a little bit. What does it mean to be narrowly crafted? Well, Mitch McConnell explicitly said that the bill that will be passed in around a month will be written by the Senate. It is not going to be written by the House of Representatives. For those who are aware, the House passed a few weeks ago something called the HEROES Act, which is a $3 trillion bill and did a lot of things, including extending unemployment insurance until next year and giving a second round of stimulus checks. That is not going to be the bill that ultimately passes. The Senate is going to write their own bill. And so the question becomes, are they going to use any portion of the HEROES Act in the newly written Senate bill? Well, most people will try to guess, but that's merely speculation. Here is what we know as of today. The Senate has said very explicitly that they do not want to pass unemployment insurance benefits past the July 31st deadline that is scheduled to end this year. So what will actually be passed? Frankly, nobody knows for certain, but here is what we know as of today. The Senate has explicitly said they do not want to pass any more unemployment insurance extensions. That's $600 per week in pandemic unemployment insurance. That's going to be cut off on July 31st. It would be shocking to see that actually extend. That's the way it is right now. So if you're on unemployment insurance, you will not have that $600 per week continuing past July 31st. You will, however, get that extra unemployment insurance from your state for 13 weeks longer than your state's maximum, up to 39 weeks in most states. That'll continue all the way until the end of this year. Instead of extending the unemployment insurance of $600 per week, it looks that the Senate and the White House are going to support something that actually is more like a back to work bonus. I talked about this in my previous video, the $450 per week that you may have heard about, and I'll give you kind of a high level overview of what that means for you. If you were unemployed and you go back to work, you will be entitled to a bonus of $450 per week all the way until the end of July 31st. There's many problems with that bill. You can check out my previous video if you want to know more, but that seems to be the most likely scenario for a bill being passed the next round of stimulus in about a month. But of course, if we pass it in a month, that's only going to give you a couple weeks before it expires. So I anticipate the Senate actually extending the deadline at which that $450 back to work bonus applies. Another thing that we know with certainty is that Mitch McConnell has explicitly stated that he wants to see liability protection for doctors and other businesses that have reopened and therefore exposed their employees or customers potentially to the virus. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, on the one hand, Mitch McConnell and other Republicans don't want to penalize businesses that reopen with additional lawsuits. And of course, it's going to be very hard to determine whether or not a customer or employee got sick because they went to the business or they were sick previously or afterwards and therefore just blamed it on the business and sued the business as a result of them getting sick. These are kind of the thorny issues that the Senate wants to avoid. On the other hand, other members of Congress have said, wait, hold on real fast. Businesses should take some precautions. And if they just open up with no care at all for their customers or their employees and they don't take certain steps to ensure that they are safe, then they should be liable for any sort of disease repercussions as a result of those actions. Now, that's going to be very difficult to actually sort out, and I anticipate that people in the Congress will actually just go ahead and give liability protection in some manner to these businesses. I think this is likely for a few reasons. Number one, it doesn't directly cost the federal government anything at all to do. And because Senate Republicans are extremely worried about the federal deficit growing right now, it's estimated at $3.7 trillion, many multiples of what it was during the Great Recession, that they would want to give some sort of stimulus in a way that doesn't actually cost them any money. Of course, it would cost indirectly certain individuals who wouldn't be able to get compensated as a result of a harm against them, but that doesn't seem to be the case right here. They don't seem to be focusing on that problem right now. Another thing we know is that this bill is going to be a lot smaller than the CARES Act and certainly a lot smaller than the HEROES Act. Mitch McConnell has explicitly stated that the bill will not be $3 trillion. And because of that, it appears very likely that you will not be receiving another stimulus check simply because the Senate does not want to spend a lot of money on this next bill. And if they already are talking about the back to work bonus of $450 per week for all of those 40 million people who are unemployed, of course, that's going to cost a ton of money, and there's not going to be a lot of money left over for other matters. And I don't believe that direct stimulus checks is going to get enough momentum in the Senate. In fact, there are some Senate Democrats that have even come out and said that they do not support the direct payments to individuals via a stimulus check, unlike their counterparts in the House of Representatives. So that's pretty much where we are right now. We don't really know a lot more than that. Anything else is merely speculation, but I think it's safe to say that you probably will not receive another stimulus check, and you certainly will not be receiving the $2,000 per month in stimulus, the $1,000 per month in stimulus, $1,000 every other week in stimulus. That probably will not happen. There's not a lot of appetite in the Senate for spending that kind of money. That's about all for this update on the stimulus bill and stimulus checks. If it helped you out, I'd appreciate you giving it a quick like and subscribing to the channel. I'll see you next time. Thanks.